P-Dub podcast fans, we're doing another session, another coffee with P-Dub this morning. Good morning, everybody. Our third session of the day and another exciting guest. You know, we're really trying to improve the content that's out there in the community. And I'm excited to bring on John Ryan again. John Ryan is a professional sports handicapper. We've had him on the show before, and we get the privilege of bringing him back on today. So without further ado, let's bring John in. Good morning, John. How we doing?
P-Dub, I'm doing great. What a great introduction you gave me there, and I love that music. That music makes me want to just, get out in the field and start playing some,
Hey, that's the goal. We're trying to get pumped up before these podcasts, so I'm glad it's doing the right thing. Hey, so we're going to set the stage a little bit for today. It's going to be a quick hitter today with me and John, but I want to talk to John a little bit about his podcast. John's podcast has been kind of picking up some significant momentum throughout the Twitter community, throughout the sports betting community. And I want to talk to a little to him about the goals of it. One, but two, he's had some pretty instrumental individuals in the sports betting community on lately. And I've been tuning in myself, and your podcast has been going great. So talk to us a little bit about how they've been going and the type of guests you're bringing on, and a little bit about your goals as well.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, first of all. Yeah, it's I think we're doing something right, and it's along the lines of what you're doing as well. Presenting shows where you're providing an educational piece. You provide a free pick, but it's not just a free pick. It's backed by extensive research. It's backed by a quality guest. It's backed by a panel of guests. And that pretty much is how my podcasts run. I have three angles of the day that I do. They're solo shots. They're about 2-3 minutes. So NHL, MLB, and NBA. And they're all, betting systems that have stood the test of time, hitting, well into the 60s and sometimes into the 70% range. Then we do one-on-ones, like you've been on my show, which has been great to have you on. And it's the dialogue. It's the exchange of information. It's building the relationships with the people that are watching. That's what the driving force is. And when people, and it's not necessarily giving out winners and losers, but when they feel that they can get something really unique and educational and something they can use in their betting decisions, then I think that is also a driving force to having the growth go up the way it has. I'm fortunate enough to be tied in with Sports Memo and Wager Talk. So on the 4 o'clock show with at Manny's Pub, where we try to curate a virtual pub atmosphere where guys just stop in and say hi, what's going on? Here's, what do you guys think of this pick? And it's just that constant dialogue back and forth, just like if you and I, P-Dub, were in a bar, and man, can you believe that, what happened yesterday? And then you go from there. So that's gaining a lot of momentum too. But again, having the Wager Talk guys and that panel of pros, where at any given moment in that pub, and I don't mind saying that I'm on the older side, but there could be well over 100, 125 years of professional experience in the room at the same time. So I think that provides a lot of credibility too.
Hey, don't give away that age, man. You're looking like a young buck to me. I don't see it. I think I got more white hair in my beard. I mean, don't have a beard, but I think I got more white hair than you do. So,
well, it's I appreciate that too. I think I am one of the younger guys on the Wager Talk panel, but well, Ski Profit stops, and he's like barely 30, and he looks like he's 16.
So we all have one common goal. I mean, it's to beat the books, right? And we're trying to provide education to the community to do that. Whether you're on my team or your team, John, or anybody else's team, at the end of the day, we're trying to build a business, but we're also trying to provide content that's going to be engaging for the community. And so if you choose not to get on my team or your team, at the end of the day, you're going to be able to make educated decisions on your picks and become a better sports handicapper, sports better. And that's what we're trying to accomplish, right? Of course, we're trying to build our brand. Yes, that's natural. That's business. But I love what you're doing. And it's all about the guests that you bring on, in my opinion, for a podcast. I mean, it truly is. And you've done a great job at that. So if you don't mind talking to me, I know they're all your favorite guests, but recently, who has been a very, solid guest for you? And why was that person, a good guest?
Well, I guess there's three that come to mind.
Okay.
David Behrman comes to mind. He's the deputy editor of sports betting and sports content at ESPN. He's gone 9 of the last 10 shows in the PGA, giving out highly profitable
Wow.
PGA best bets. I emphasize highly because we discussed Rory McIlroy and his love affair with Quail Hollow, and he won. Came from behind and won. We had a lot of fun picking Bryson DeChambeau because he triple bogeyed the 18th on the second day and got in a jet. And then suddenly his agent said, "Oh, by the way, you're not 90th anymore. You're 68th." So he literally from Dallas, Texas, flew back to Charlotte at roughly 1:30 in the morning. Had no time at the range. Got out in the course after a few practice putts, and again, 18 got him. He double bogeyed it, but he shot a 68. So,
Wow.
David has an insight into the PGA Tour like I've never come across. So I'm very privileged to have him on every Tuesday at 1 o'clock to hear who he's going with.
That's beautiful.
Another guy would be Paul Carr, True Media Sports, and also a ESPN contributor. He used to work for ESPN with David.
Great show, by the way. Not to interrupt you, but I watched your show. Great show with Paul. Keep going.
Thanks. And that's a soccer show. That's we're focused on the UEFA show, part of it. And now we're down to the finals between Manchester City and Real Madrid in the finals of that World Championship. So that's pretty exciting too. And as the host, I try to present this show where I have limited knowledge, and I'm not afraid to admit that soccer has never been one of my focus points. But when you hook up with a guy like Paul, you can't help but to all of a sudden get hungry to learn more and find out more and more and more. His picks the last 2 shows are 5-0. So he's been spectacular with that. So between those two, it's hard, not to pay attention to those guys and tail their picks. The third guy I would say is Etan Shander, Philly Fox Sports. He's not an Eagles beat writer, but he follows the Eagles extensively. And another just great, very focused NFL mind. He's focused on the Philadelphia area, the NFC East, and talking to him about the draft was awesome too.
Beautiful. That's amazing, and I'm privileged to have a guest like yourself on that's bringing guests onto their podcast. So it's all growth, but it's all educational based. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. So we're just going to slide into breaking down a betting angle and one NBA game tonight with John. I know that he sees something in this specific matchup between the Rockets Blazers tonight. So let's talk a little bit about that, on what you're seeing in that game tonight on that betting angle.
Well, you have Portland in I hate the word must-win situation, but I think they're number 6 right now if the season ended. And anybody would say that, and no team wants to go into that play-in tournament, including the Lakers. Lakers got a huge effort from Anthony Davis last night.
Yep.
They had lost 5 of the last 6 with LeBron and with AD, and even though they won yesterday, they're still kind of a mess right now. Portland wants to stay out of that mess because on any given day, the Lakers can play at a very, very high level. So you wouldn't want to face them in that play-in tournament starting next week. Portland could go as high as 5 because they're chasing down Dallas. So all these games now this week are immensely important for most of the teams. So there's a betting angle that you're going to play over the total. And in this case, you're going to play on the home team side. So you're taking the Trailblazers as a bet and the over as a bet based on the fact that the Trailblazers have posted an assist-to-turnover ratio of at least 2.5, which is a very elite level, over their last 3 consecutive games. So they did 2.5 assist-to-turnover in each of those 3. And the opponent they're playing is not a good ball handling team based on assist to turnover, and their season to date average is below 2. That has gone 19-6 and one push to the over for 76% over the last 3 seasons. The side is 18-8 for 70% for the home team side bet. So all told, it tells you to take the Trailblazers as a bet and the over as a bet. And I don't recommend parlays. You just play the two sides as if they're two different games and leave the parlays and the teasers alone.
So that is it's a large spread tonight, relatively so, right? And the line's there for a reason. It's built in at 15, opened at 15, staying at 15. What I'm seeing on my data is I see 42% of the tickets on the Rockets, which rightfully so makes sense, but 51% of the money, which is surprising. I think that big spread might be pushing some people to, bet on the Rockets, and I think that's a terrible move in this situation. I have to agree. Those are some strong betting angles that I think have significant value, obviously, over the last three seasons, producing a nice 70%, 78% clip, I think you said, on one of the sides or totals.
Total was 76.
76%. Beautiful. I mean, I don't know how anybody could back the Rockets tonight. I really don't know how you could back the Rockets. If you're thinking of playing the game, it's either you stay off the game or you're backing the Blazers, right? And that 15-point spread may be scaring some people. It's a large spread, and they just need a dub. They don't really need to win by 16 points. But at the end of the day, they don't want to slide into that 7th seed. And we talked about this on a previous show this morning. This play-in tournament is super interesting. And there's the Lakers sitting in the 7th. If they slide into that and they beat the Warriors in that play-in game, they've got the Suns potentially or the Jazz in the first round. And neither of them want to mess with the Lakers. So it's going to be an interesting playoff tournament for sure, or playoffs.
Yeah, for what it's worth, real quick, P-Dub, the over, just blindly betting the over this year of 235 or more points has gone 59-28 for 68%. So there's no system there. That's just blindly doing it. And it's the same for betting the under 215 or lower points. So in the last 7 days, if you would have just blindly bet the over in any game that was 235 or more points, you would have had an 8-3-1 week. It's unbelievable.
It's truly unbelievable. And I had this discussion with somebody, I don't know, last week. If you bet the top over on the board and you bet the lowest under on the board, you're producing a highly successful winning record in the NBA this season. And that goes along exactly with what you're saying right now. It's truly amazing. 68% blindly betting the over. We would kill for results like that. And you can blindly do it this season in the NBA, betting over 235. How amazing is that?
I think it'll change in the playoffs, though. I've done some research on that, and that's part of the content that we've been discussing about the podcast. So that's where I get a little bit into the machine learning end of it. So based on history, we're going to expect a much more condensed range from minimum to maximum in totals during the playoffs.
Of course.
Not in us reflecting defensive effort, but there's going to be a less of those crazy outliers where you have Washington playing Indiana and you get 296 points. That was
amazing.
That was one of my bets, actually, and we were arguing and debating that in the Mandy's Pub show. Like, how can you bet the over on the highest total of the season? Well, because the teams are going to score 290 or 300 points.
Well, it's the highest total of the season for a reason. Right. Hey, John, I just want to, before we get off here, I just want to let you know this comment came in that you're a great guest. And so just want to show you a little love Solutions. There. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're going to tell John's betting angle, again, the Blazers minus 15 and the over, is it 238?
Yep.
Over 238 on that.
And I would go up to 242 on that before I'd even start to question whether I wanted to, reduce the amount.
Right. I appreciate you jumping on, John.
Option.
Yeah, this was a quick hitter for us.
Yep.
I appreciate jumping on and
sure.
and kind of giving us a little bit of a light into the podcast and your podcast and the goals of it, and then sharing that betting angle with us today. I thought real informative show, so I appreciate you jumping on. Tell the public where they can find you on social media and online.
On social media, it's the Predictive Playbook channel on YouTube, and all the shows that we do are live. So you can grab them on Twitter as well, on the Twitter live feed, which used to be Periscope. And then for website content and sales of subscriptions, that kind of thing, I'm on sportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. You just simply go to the navigation and look for my name, and there you go. So that's about it.
All right, we'll find this man. He's got more angles where that can come from, as do I. You can find me on Twitter at Proven Winners, Instagram at Proven Winner, and on YouTube at PW Sports Podcast. John, always a pleasure bringing you on the show, and may your week be great. And go take the book's money today and every day. So again, thank you again, and we'll have you on next time.
You got it, and you'll be on mine later this week, I believe. So
yes, sir.
We'll have a good time on that one for sure. Thanks again for having me.
All right, John. Until next time, Coffee with P-Dub. I didn't even finish my coffee with such a quick hitter. We'll have you on next time, John. Thanks again.
You got it, man. Take care.
Right. Bye.